Hey, are you frivolously allowing your children to have a tremendous amount of time on the screen? You know, like your phone? Are you giving your 3-year-old your phone so they can watch some videos so they can keep quiet? Has your phone become now the new babysitter? Whereas in my generation, it was the television. So many parents use the TV as a babysitter instead of parents being engaged with their kids or actually learning how to communicate with their kids in a way that they could, add some peace. Yes, peace. Yeah, instead of going crazy. Listen, I understand. I'm a mom of 5, grandmother of 8. I get it, man. I get being stressed out at home. I get feeling like you are in a constant whirlwind, or let's say like a hurricane and a tsunami and a typhoon all at the same time, all in one day with your kids. Especially, I had 3 sons and 2 daughters, but my 3 sons were 3 sons. The 3 younger ones were 3 boys, and boys are very different than girls. They have a whole lot more energy, at least than the girls that I had. And I remember those times of going, and wanting to have something else occupy them in case I lost my marbles and I started screaming at them. And so I get it, but you know what? We have to be really mindful. We've got to be very aware of what we are really doing, and we've got to find different solutions. Because the fact is that so many people today say, well, hey, Danny, we're in the technology age. It is what it is. The bottom line is I can't control my kids and I can't control technology, so why even bother? Friend, are you a parent or not? Are you alive or dead? Are you a victim? Or are you more than a conqueror? Are you somebody that is training up your children for failure, or are you going to train them up for success? You have such a short period of time with them. It is time to stop checking out and just allowing yourself to go down the road that so many mediocre people go down, where they say, well, there's nothing I could do about it anyway. Let me tell you something. This is crazy. Forbes reports that screen technologies affect our brain the same way as cocaine. So you're handing your kid a line of cocaine when you hand them your phone. When you buy them a phone when they're in the 3rd grade, cocaine. And dopamine that gets released causes an addiction to technology. So literally screen time to this young mind is like giving them a line of cocaine. They get addicted to it, they can't put it down. And then all of a sudden, you find your kid in a corner on that thing constantly. So then now you raise a teenager who's on that thing constantly and completely disconnected from the family, completely disconnected from the real world. And check this out. According to the Business Insider, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates rarely let their kids have screen time and didn't allow them to get cell phones until they were well into their teen years. These are the technology developers that protected their kids from the very technology that they were developing. What does that tell you? Recently, there was a video that went all over YouTube and all over Facebook about one of the developers of, Facebook, who actually left his job because of the guilt he felt of what he knew Facebook was doing to the people who were using it. The kind of science and technology that was put into this and the kind of psychological studies that were done to control the minds of the users of social media. So this man left, highly paid executive, after he was doing what they're doing and all the discoveries and the deeper and deeper that they were going in this direction, he just went, I'm out. I can't do this. We are purposely controlling the minds of the people. We have purposely studied the science of how the mind works. We've studied the psychology of it. We have literally come up with a strategy that is sucking the life right out of them so that they will buy of the advertisement that is now all over the place. He personally, as a father, did not allow his children on any social media platforms. You can find the video right on YouTube. So what I'm saying is this. If you're not going to pull out, then you better be wise, and you better have both eyes open, and you better be talking to your kids about the harmful effects, and you better help them to get on board, motivate them for things that are much greater than just that. So we've asked our audience this question about screen time, and what they are doing about it. As responsible parents, what they're doing about it. We've got Anastasia from Florida. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi. So what about you? What do you do? You just heard everything I just said. I mean, can you imagine Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, who are designing technology, right? Hello, and developed phones, did not even allow their own kids to participate with it.
I think it's super smart. And I have read also, like, a lot of the rock stars in the 60s and 70s wouldn't even let their kids listen to the music that they were producing. So I think it kind of goes along the same lines, that they're aware of what that is doing or what was involved. And it's kind of, there's a lot of areas where that line is blurred. But we have a 5-year-old boy, and we push for a super authentic childhood. So we have very limited screen time in our homes. Concerning movies, tablet, video games,
everything.
And we don't have cable. Yes.
Yeah, we were the same way. We were the weird family. We were the weird family.
Totally okay with that.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are literally like the strictest parents, and it's fine. Like we we're very even to the point of like screening friends. Like it just is what it is, because once a child, you can't. That innocence is taken away in pieces, and you can't give it back. And so he's 5, and he has such a tender heart, and I want to protect that as much as possible. We homeschool him for that very reason. And he's so hungry for God's word and for just learning that I want to continue to nourish that. So as far as video games, he's only allowed to play, like, the one thing he does now is Crash Bandicoot, so super 90s. We have particular days for that, and if and when he plays it, it's either with me or Daddy. Let's see, for tablets, we have, it's really more of like if we have an appointment or like really big grocery haul, and he has the Navi, so it's completely parental controlled. I have an app on my phone. I have time limits on what apps he's allowed to play for learning, for fun, and then he has, I think it's called Superbook, and it's like about the books of the Bible and learning about Jesus. So there's, I'm very, very in tune with the content that he has in front of his eyes. Okay.
Anastasia, I'm going to push back on you just a little bit in there. First of all, I am so proud of you that you are not suckering in to the peer pressure, and that you are very proud of the fact that you call yourself a strict parent. But I like what you called yourself earlier, which is authentic. We have an authentic family, and that is really what it is, because strict has an element of control. And so there's a difference between protection and control, and I wrote about it in the book, Grooming the Next Generation for Success, because control is going to result in rebellion, but protection results in honor, and it results in trust and in love. And so it's really important that we communicate as to why we are doing this. And not only that, but we actually even pull from their own minds by asking them questions about who they desire to be, what kind of life they want to have. And so we were very similar in our parenting, but I'm going to push back on you on the long shopping haul or a long trip, because they didn't have tablets when my kids were growing up. We didn't have cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have the technology that we have, but I brought all of my kids through the grocery store with me, and they were sane. They were sane. And so what happens is that we begin to use technology as a crutch to keep a kid quiet. And what we're training them to believe, Anastasia, is that they have to have technology in order to behave. And this is where so many parents are really, really blurring a line. We have to give the kids the opportunity to be kids, and we have to give them an opportunity to learn how to act in an adult environment like a grocery store without entertaining them. It blows my mind that whenever Hans and I go to a family-oriented restaurant, which is not very often, if ever, it's with the family that we do it, but I can say that out of 10 times that I've been in a family-oriented restaurant, there is other kids in that restaurant, and they each have their own device in the restaurant, watching or playing some game, versus engaging with the family at the table at a restaurant. So the kid is being robbed the opportunity to utilize self-control. The parents are robbing their child of the opportunity to teach their son how to manage himself, how to act in a public setting, how to act in a restaurant, how to communicate in a restaurant. What I used to tell my kids, and I wrote about this in Grooming the Next Generation for Success, that when we were heading into a restaurant or any kind of public domain where there were adults, I would say, guys, we're heading into a restaurant. So what kind of an environment is a restaurant? I wouldn't tell them what the environment was. I let them tell me what the environment was. And they would say, it's quiet. Yeah. And what kind of people are here? Big people. Good job. Yes, Roman. Yes, big people. Okay. And so is it like a playground at the park, or what kind of environment is it? And they're like, no, it's not a playground at the park. Okay, cool. So what is the conduct that we want to see at the restaurant? We need to sit down. We need to be quiet. We need to have good manners. So here they're telling me the kind of conduct that is expected of a human being in this environment. So it gave them opportunity to learn the environment, to see what was around them, and to honor the environment, to honor the other people. And then I would say this, I would say this to them. I would say, you know what? You guys are awesome kids. And I personally think you're amazing. And the fact is I believe that most people, when we walk into this environment, they're going to think, when they see the size of our family, they're going to think, oh no, my dinner's over. And why? Do you remember the last restaurant we were at? Yeah. Do you remember those 3 kids off in the corner? Do you remember how they were acting? Yeah. Tell me what their behavior was like. And they were wild. They were getting up out of their seat. They were screaming. They were throwing food, right? So my kids are telling me what happened. Great. And so guess what we have the opportunity to do? We have the opportunity to change the mind of the adults that are going to be in this restaurant. We also have the opportunity that you guys are going to set the example for the other kids that will be in this restaurant. You're going to have the opportunity to show the families how families should be honoring their environment, and that kids your age are awesome at it. And I'm going to bet we're going to have someone stop us and tell us how awesome you are. And Anastasia, guess what? That's exactly what happened. And I would say 90+% of every restaurant environment that I took my children into, as well as grocery stores, as well as doctor's appointments, every public setting, my kids were not sheltered to the point that they did not know how to act in public settings. But this gave them a chance to win for the team, to win for the environment, to win for our nation, to win for our God. That's the opportunity we give them. And so when I see parents that have a tablet in front of their kids in public settings, I say this is not healthy, and you're losing an opportunity here. And the kid at some point is going to have to know how to act. And not only that, we're teaching, perhaps, I'm not saying you are, Anastasia, because I believe that you are much more mindful than the average parent. But I'm telling you, there's someone watching me right now that is totally oblivious to this fact. Here's what I know. We are raising, when we have our kids on the screen all the time in public settings, in family events, in the car, at a restaurant, at the doctor's office, everywhere, whenever we want them to be quiet, you just raised a future husband that will be disconnected from his wife and his children. You just raised a future husband and or a future wife that's going to be at the dinner table on their cell phone device. You just raised a future child that's going to come to a family barbecue and sit on the couch and be on their phone. You just trained your kid how to isolate themselves, to be disconnected, and to not be unified in with the family unit. That is what the result's going to be. You also have just trained your kids that when they become an adult and they are at work, they are on that thing. Why? Because it's little by little. This is how addictions start. It's the same activity happening over and over and over and over again that is releasing dopamine, which is what? It gives you that feeling of being high. Working out gives you that same feeling. And so technology, they have proven, does the same exact thing to the brain that cocaine does. Makes them feel invincible. Totally establishes their imagination. They go off and it's this tunnel vision. It's this focused place. So you think about the activity you're training your kid for. Because we have all seen the men and the women, the mothers and the fathers that are totally disconnected. And why do I see a hostile environment being raised up in this generation right now? Because of all the technology, the disconnect, the lack of intimacy. It really makes me mad. We've got Christine from Massachusetts. Christine, what about you?
Danny.
Hi.
I feel very fortunate. Well, first of all, I'm a single mother of 6 and 11-year-old boys. And I feel very fortunate that I live in a community where there is a wealth of children. And we're very active. My children have devices, but they rarely use them. we're involved in sports. We're
Yeah.
at church going.
Yeah.
You know, when they wake up in the morning, they want to go outside and play and get
Yep.
fresh air.
Yep.
Uh,
So what's your parameters with their device? They have a device, but
You
is
know,
it
I don't
30
have
minutes a
any.
day?
No, I don't. You know, because they don't use it. First of all, I haven't had cable for 7 years,
Good job.
and I love that. Oh my God, no news is good news.
We were the
and-
weird family like that too. We haven't had cable for over 2 decades.
But
Don't
we
have
don't
TV.
notice we're never home,
Mhm.
you know. And so if I have Netflix, which is great because then you know I can monitor
Mhm.
what they have. We have a gaming system. Again, it's in the living room. We can monitor. If the
Yeah, but
kids
I'm
wanna
asking you
come
the
in and
question.
take-
How is it a half an hour a day that they're able to utilize this technology? Is it an hour a day? Is it 2 hours a day? Is it
I would
3
say
hours a
it's
day?
less than an hour.
Yep.
I would say it's about less than an hour because they use it so little.
Yep.
Because usually it's at night when we're winding down.
Mm-hmm.
My son will say, "Can I use your phone?" and bring it into the bedroom and just chill out.
Okay. Why
Or
does
if
he need
he's
to bring
out-
it into your bedroom though? Why does he need to bring it into the bedroom?
Because he's laying down.
Yeah, he
Like
can lay down on the couch right next to you with your phone.
Yeah, but he wants to lay down to unwind, to go to bed.
So he can lay down with you and unwind.
I'm
Yeah,
not
is this
laying
the
down.
11-year-old?
He goes to bed before me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 11.
Honey.
Oh no, I have parental blocks on. I have everything is blocked, and I can check the history. But he's
Let
not
me
in
ask
there
you a
with
question.
the closed door, and
Christine?
if I go in there, yeah,
Christine, did you check the history last night?
he didn't use it last night.
Did you check it the night before?
Yes.
Are you checking the history? Come on, Christine, tell the
Yes,
truth.
Every
Every single
I
time.
am.
Good job.
Oh, yes, I am. Yes,
Good job.
I am.
Good
and
job.
I know what he's doing. And you know what? Because I say we're a sports family,
Mm-hmm.
he's researching basketball. He's researching baseball. My son
Mm-hmm.
just got.
Okay, hold on. Christine, let me help you with something also. I got to tell you this. I don't know if you know this, but pornographers are amazing marketers. And just because your son is researching that, I'm going to tell you they target that. Pornographers target sports sites, just so you know. So I'd be clicking on every single thing that he's clicking on. And by the way, YouTube, you can't parentally block YouTube at all. You cannot. You also cannot parentally block images on Google. Guess how I found that out? From my children. Yes, where we had every parental block that was known to man. And yet what I found was, whoa, there are ways for them to get there. And the thing I want you to think about, Christine, what is the habit we are creating for the 11-year-old laying in bed with a device in his hand? Do you think that this habit that he is forming, whether it's 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, 2 nights a week, that when all of a sudden he gets married, that he will not be laying in bed with his wife lonely next to him with a device in his hand researching sports? Think about it. Everything we're doing with our kids, we need to think about this seed that we're sowing right here and what possibly is the future of it. There are millions of couples laying in bed, lonely, each on their devices. I've gone through it. I don't know if you have, but I just want you to think consciously. Because here's what Christine, this is what I want to do. I was that mom who thought, I've got this dialed. I've got everything protected. And then guess what happened when I would follow up? Whew, yeah. My son types in something that is like totally innocent and bam. Clicks on another thing from there, takes him straight to a porn site. The images, there it is. And it's not that they went looking for it. It literally is. Pornographers strategically are targeting your 11-year-old son. And the pornographers are much smarter than you and me, Christine. So this is the thing I've had to learn in my life, that whatever it is that I think that I know, I want to press against what I think I know, and I want to come from the other side. And I want to say, okay, maybe I know this, but what if I don't know this? What if there's actually something that I need to learn in this? What if I actually don't know all about this? What if I'm wrong? It's so much better to ask yourself the question of what if I'm wrong, and to go and act like you are wrong to find any possible hole, and to, of course, make sure we're having the conversations with Christine. You are a very conscious mother, very conscious I am pretty confident you're having those sexual conversations with your son, meaning conversations about sex, conversation about pornographers that are targeting him specifically through sports sites. I'm pretty confident that you are talking to him about honor, honoring his eyes, honoring his God, honoring women, because he's 11. And 11 years old is hello. There's all kinds of things that are turned on inside of his body, and he cannot help himself. And there are, hello, millions of dollars spent every year to target your precious 11-year-old Christian boy, just as my sons were targeted. So if you find yourself as that parent, as Anastasia and Christine, who I am so proud of, these people are like, no, man, this is how we're doing it, and we're authentic, and we're different. I'm so proud of you. But let's try to go a level deeper and start to look from different eyes. The eyes that say, okay, there's another layer. I don't want to put all my confidence in what I think I know. What if I didn't know? What if there's more? So if you're that parent that you are not like Christine and Anastasia, where you are like completely oblivious to the reality that even the technology producers do not allow their children to have screen time, you have to ask yourself like, whoa, these guys are making billions of dollars producing technology for our kids, but they don't allow their kids to use it. Why is that? Think about that. Why is that? They might know something you don't know, friend. They are the ones that are the billionaires, and they're not allowing their kids to have it. You got to ask yourself why. So there is a way to parent and not be hated by your kids. There is a way to be the #weird family without it biting you in the backside and without making your kids feel weird. I wrote a book called Grooming the Next Generation for Success. It is by far, the most, to me, powerful thing I've ever written. This conversation we're having, I'm so sad, doesn't really matter to a lot of people, makes me sad. If I talk about business, people jump all over it. If I talk about money, people jump all over it. When we talk about kids and the importance of family, people are like, ooh, I want to punch those people. This is how I did it. I came from such a nasty background, badly abused, sexually abused. I was a little whore. I got pregnant at 17 out of wedlock. I did drugs. My kids knew all of that. This is going to show you how to have those very important, deep conversations with your kids and to position them for success because someone is grooming your child right now for failure. Our school system is grooming your child for failure. The internet is grooming your child for failure. The banks are grooming your children for failure. The television is grooming your children for failure. The current music on the market is grooming your children for failure. And I hate to tell you, largely, even our churches are grooming our kids for failure. The teen pregnancy rate is the same in the church as it is outside. Pornography rate is the same. The addiction to pornography is the same in the church as it is outside of the church. Debt is the same rate in the church as it is outside of the church. Divorce is the same in the church as it is out of the church. Your kids are being groomed to fail. How are you going to sleep at night with that fact? This book, chapter by chapter, how to position your kids for success, the literal skill sets that you and I didn't get growing up from school or even from our parents, even if you had great parents, which I wished I had. This fills in all the blanks. You got a very short period of time with them. So I hope you're not arrogant and think you got it all together like most parents do, but that you're that one always learning to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to find that loophole that's going to set your kids apart. It's going to set your family apart. How to do it the way that those very successful and generationally successful families have done it. Grooming the next generation for success is not only going to bring more peace into your home, and not only going to help you really understand your role and the power of the influence that you have with the next generation. Because you might have the next president of the United States in your home. You might have the next Steve Jobs. You might have the next professional football player, basketball player. You might have inside your home the next actress who has influence over millions. Listen to me. You might have the next senator, congressman. You're training them up for something. You might have the next Billy Graham. You might have the next Mother Teresa in your home. But if you don't know how to discover who they are, how to pull that out of them, motivate them for greatness, and teaching and make sure they understand finances, making sure they understand leadership and communication, and most importantly, make sure they understand their God and their own heart. Setting them up to succeed emotionally, mentally. These are things that you and I were not set up to succeed with. We need to come together and groom the next generation for success. Go to DannyJohnson.com and get your copy of that book now. Also pick up the home study course. Get the entire kit and raise up a generation that where you know when it's all said and done, you're going to go, I definitely did my job. I did my part. And whatever they choose to do from here is totally up to them. Thanks so much for joining us today. God bless you. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DannyJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Danny Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.